The Pope came, he addressed Congress and the United Nations. Parades were held in his honor, T-shirts sold in his name. What was your reaction to the visit, Carl?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the current pontiff. I'm not entirely sure how relevant his visit was to American politics, if you want to look at it from that perspective.
How relevant was it supposed to be?
I don't know. Seems how he was
Separation of church and state and all that.
Asked John Boehner.
made John Boehner.
Cost that
Cry,
guy.
baby, and then he quit.
Well, he did address a lot of our social and political issues, and of course, he did things you'd expect a religious leader to address. Whether or not it has any lasting effect in the United States, we need to wait and see. But I very strongly doubt it.
Yeah, like what kind of things that you thought that he addressed that we needed?
Well, he addressed global warming. He addressed our social, our income inequality, that sort of thing. All of which
Refugees from Syria, he addressed some of that.
addressed
Immigrant
those, yeah.
stuff is a big topic.
Yeah, he addressed a little bit of gun control, a little bit of abortion,
did.
very little bit of abortion.
He hit a lot of issues.
Death penalty?
Yeah.
Death
Yeah.
penalty.
Death
Yeah, that
penalty.
didn't go very
But
far,
you know,
did it?
But you know
No.
what? He did it in such a way. I mean, he got the abortion and the death penalty thing all in the same paragraph,
Yeah.
He
right?
did.
Yeah,
Very, like I said, very little.
He did, but you know what? It was a very powerful statement, in my opinion.
it was.
Yeah, well,
And you know, I'm one of those people that
so was he for or against abortion?
no, obviously he was
He's not
against it.
for it.
Because I wasn't sure. I mean,
No, well, it was
obviously
obvious,
he is not for abortion.
No.
So I don't have a problem. You know, I think sometimes we read more politics into things that people say than maybe are there. I don't have a problem with him addressing those, even if
Oh,
he
no.
was addressing it in a political fashion. I think what came across to me on the global warming thing is let's leave this place better than we found it, or as good as we
yeah.
found
and I
it.
believe that we
And
have.
you know what?
When you look at
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that, but I also don't believe that global warming is the catastrophe that some would say it is.
Yeah.
I think there's conflicting science.
Yeah.
But I think anything we can do to preserve our planet and to recycle and to do all of those types of things, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think basically what he was doing, in my opinion, he was just stating some of the long tradition of Catholic social teaching. It's pretty much what he was doing. And I thought the speech itself was masterful in that he did pick those 4 Americans that he picked out Abraham Lincoln, who didn't really have any particular faith.
Right?
Then he had, of course, Martin Luther King, a Baptist. And then there were 2 Catholics, Dorothy Day, and Thomas Merton, who were both very radical and on the outs of their time with society and the church. So it was rather curious what he did, but I think he was just trying to put out stuff that was in, the tradition of the church, and he has a very nice way about him.
He does. I think, I suspect he's going to be every bit as popular as John Paul, whatever the number
Even
was.
more so, I think.
Yeah, I think this guy is a winner for the church, and I think that I think he was sincere about addressing the issue with the pedophilia that was going on among
Yeah, there
some
was
of the
this
priests.
whole other side to this visit that had to deal with the church, and he's done some rather radical things, firing
Right.
people in the church for various reasons. And,
Amen.
But what I liked about it was the tenor that he showed in that speech was so different than what we're used to hearing these days in the U.S. Congress. It was not trying to divide people
No.
or raise and, stick his finger in somebody's eye or the
No,
thumb.
no.
It was
It was
exactly the
respectful.
opposite. Respectful,
It was
but honest also, I thought.
Absolutely.
So
Now,
I was impressed.
what does anybody think about the report that he visited with the lady that wouldn't issue the gay marriage license?
Davis.
Yeah, Kim Davis. I guess I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I'm not sure that.
well, why announce that after you leave the country?
Yeah, that's kind of odd. And frankly, I don't think what she has done or hasn't done rises
and
to the
it's funny
occasion
because
To meet the
facilitate.
Pope for it,
A papal visit.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, there doesn't seem to be enough details about the actual story, at least
you
that
wouldn't-
I've seen yet.
No, I haven't.
Well, one
either.
thing you didn't want to do was upset his liberal people that he has to have on his side and that he wants to cater to. And he doesn't want to. I mean, he truly is in the middle. He didn't want to upset the conservatives either, even though he did talk about pay inequality and all that.
Somehow,
he
I
did a
don't,
lot,
somehow I
yeah.
don't think he's too worried about American conservative and liberal politics.
I don't think
Well, we
he
know
is.
he's not worried about Syrian refugees. I mean, he's only taking 2 families, into Vatican City.
How long was that speech? Does anybody remember? Was it an hour?
I don't really know. It
don't
wasn't,
think
I
it was
doubt
that
that it
long,
was
no.
long. It was not that long of a speech.
Maybe half an hour?
Maybe 30.
Maybe.
Can we all agree, though, that that's probably the only 30 minutes on television in the past 3 months that hasn't had either the name Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton in it?
Well, that was nice.
It could be. It could be.
That was
It
nice.
was kind of nice, you know.
That was a nice, nice.
And I just loved his, mentioning and picking out 4 Americans and using them as examples. And in some way, he probably seemed to know quite a bit about art history and being a man of the Western Hemisphere himself.
When he
Very
was
interesting.
when he
Yeah,
was
first pope.
going into to do his mass in New York City, he was driving along in the Pope cart or whatever you call it, and there was this disabled child off to the side, and he had stopped and he was reaching out to touch this child, and the parents weren't getting it, and I guess they were afraid or whatever, and he would not let that cart move forward until he got to touch that child and I'm sure say a prayer or whatever it was he did, and that to me that was very touching.
Well, this pope is a real pastor, unlike some other popes. Benedict came more out of the school theologian tradition and in the offices in the Vatican and that sort of a thing. But he actually was, as the Archbishop, Cardinal in Argentina there, he was out all the time with the people.
So he now he was one of the, as I understand it, one of the runners-up for the Pope the last time. Has anybody heard that?
I don't really know.
I'm wondering if any, and I don't know. I mean, I know how the decision's made and the white and the black smoke, but I wonder at some point if the people that made the first decision and made this one are saying, "Wow,
It's quite a bit of difference here.
yeah."
So
Not that the last guy was bad, but this guy, in the short time he's had the position, has just, in my opinion, really shined.
I know people,
Richard, you're
personal
looking at me
friends.
like I'm a nut.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you like you got 3 heads.
I'm not even a
I'm
Catholic,
sorry.
and I like the guy.
You know what? I mean,
I could switch because of him.
Well, here's my problem. I mean, he speaks about selling arms or arming people is what he spoke about. He didn't actually say guns in America or any of that stuff, but he spoke about that, and he rides around with an armed entourage. I'm sorry, to me, that's hypocrisy.
Why?
Why?
Basic security is hypocrisy?
Well, isn't that my right to bear arms? Isn't that basic security? I mean, the liberal left is playing on this all about, it's all about gun control.
I don't get
what
the,
his statements
the
were.
analogy.
So,
Well,
Yeah,
part
and
of me
see,
was
and
talking about
and again, I'll
arms
go back to my point earlier
between
that
countries, too.
I don't know that his statements were meant to be as political as some are
taking
suggesting
it.
they are.
right.
So that's the other reality.
Yeah, well, I think whatever he did make.
Well,
a
God
big
bless you
impression.
all anyway, okay?
Things will be going very
And also to
interesting
you.
along here, but
Well, that's the wrong statement.
I
Isn't it?
think we need to. The Pope will be back again,
Eventually.
I think. And next up on the flip side, Carl will lead the discussion about the proposed educational hub in downtown Hagerstown. Please stay tuned.